Hello. Okay, there we go. Hello, hello, hello. All right, let's make this thing All right, here I am. Hi everybody. Welcome. It's 3:33 here Mountain Time on the 3-3 portal. I was up this morning at 4:30. It's not usual for me, and yet it felt super important to be witness to that beautiful blood moon, lunar eclipse, and I was blessed that here in Idaho, it was an incredibly clear night. I saw stars everywhere with that gorgeous red moon out there on its way down. And yet tonight we have this full moon rising again. So here we are on this day, dropping in with the message that we get to be here now, whatever that is, wherever you are, whatever day it is, whatever time it is for you. We are all here. And and these are these live moments, right? I got my heater running over here because let's just turn that off because, I can do that. I can do that. You know, this journey of life is about us recognizing that we choose. And on the messaging that's coming through today, hi, Beverly. I love that you're here. Thank you. Is that this potency of the three? That's what we're doing here. We're playing with numbers. Yes, these are all set up on our calendar and they're still relevant. Three is a powerful number in the realm of sacred geometry, the triangle, the Trinity, the relationship that we have as oneness with these two other aspects. And so, what does that mean exactly? We are God, we are human, we are soul. And we dance on this planet with past, present, future. And we play with the energies of here now and recognizing that all of it is what's in the quantum field. And all of it is co-created with our intention and with our vision. We are one being that experiences the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the sense of neutrality, which is essentially presence. It takes the balance which we had in our previous month, our 2-2 portal, and creates the expansion into this triangulation, again, bringing us back to the oneness, the container that is here reminding us that I am. It's funny, I'm actually looking at the letter A. The capital letter A has that triangle in it. And that's the fun part about this journey is putting the pieces together, seeing the synchronicities that guide us, that lead us along this journey. How are we allowing ourselves to be a part of this? Well, this year, this 2026 year, right, has not disappointed in the realm of upside down, inside out, topsy-turvy, right? No matter what stream of information that you are gathering in the field of presence through this divine matrix. Now, if all you're doing is meditating all day, then you have that pure channel. But most of us aren't. Most of us are scrolling through our phone or watching the news or tapping into other people's stories. And the gift of presence reminds us what's true. Life is full of a myriad of distractions. And yet, every one of those distractions, divined by us, for us, for the collective awakening, clarity, growth, evolution, is here to remind us that nothing is ever wrong. It might look wrong, it might feel wrong, it might be in all the ways that you're a human say, no, that's wrong. This is part of the messaging that me, and if you don't know me, hey, I'm Jonas. I'm the love messenger. My business is the Lotus Path. And I recognize that we are here building a path through the mud, the muck, the poo that enables us to grow our blossom. We are all walking our own lotus path. And when we remember that we get to say yes to ourselves, yes is that a beautiful word that begins with a powerful letter, the letter Y. And what is so powerful about that word? That letter, the letter Y. We're back to the capital letter version again here. I happen to write all in capital letters, so it's one of my default ways of seeing the English alphabet. The letter Y has an I with a V sitting on it. What does that even mean? Like, why is that even relevant? You're just like, what are you talking about? I am telling you that saying yes is where I decide how I'm going to navigate life with the V. And what does the V bring forth? Bring forth the energy of victor, villain, or victim. V, victor, villain, or victim. And I get to decide. I choose. And we're all here to experience all of it. And we're all here to not know what anybody else's journey is. And so we look out to our world in the state that it's in, and some might say, oh, there's so many victims and there's so many horrible things going on. Things are breaking down and breaking apart and collapsing, and people are being hurt, bombed. And we are actually being witness to what is being revealed. If you play with me, you know that I love that we live in a consciousness, in a dimension that shows us it's about perspective. I was on a call with Peter Sage, and so I'm giving him credit for this. I'm not taking credit for it, although everything's a remix. That's a big dance and a big conversation about what we take in and what we essentially regurgitate. Which we could say that's a whole AI conversation, which I'm not going to go down that path. But I am going to bring it back and I'm going to say that what I laughed out loud to that he shared is, I'm sure many of you are familiar with The Matrix, a documentary. I've been loving that. Why? Because what is a documentary? A documentary is essentially telling us the truth about something. It's not acting. It's not fictionalized. I was even having a conversation with someone about what science fiction is. There is no fiction in there. And what's science? Is science fact? Is it truth? We can definitely say that there's aspects of science that we are all matter. What's matter? Fields of energy. Energy is everything. We are literally here to move through our lives as energy fields in relationships, in our physical growth. None of us look like the babies that came out of our mother's wombs, especially those of us that are all grown. We've evolved, our bodies have shifted. And this vessel, this body, the incredible beingness. So again, we're in this three, right? So the body, the mind, the spirit. The body is how we are able to create the vehicle for our spirit to evolve and grow and learn. Yeah. The scientific method to figure out a problem. Thank you, Beverly. Yes. So there is this way that we have this ability to play with what's in the field of this dimension, the scientific method, which is, in essence, to enable us to prove. Prove what? Prove a truth, prove a hypothesis, prove a theory. All along the way, it's in our experience of life that is the proof, because everybody has a different experience. And that's true. That is part of this collective reality container. Reality TV. How about that? Back in the 90s, we were introduced to what was supposed to be real living. And yet everybody knew there was still acting there. It was an opportunity to create a space where we could feel that people were really showing up as themselves. The only person that knows who you're showing up as is you. We can never know what's going on for another. Yes, we can be intuitive, we can have feelings. There's a frequency, a vibration, right, to what we might say is the experience of authenticity. That's true. That's a feeling. Say our gut feeling, our intuition. And where I'm going to bring us through again is that journey of our presence here as God, experiencing this life through us. Back to that Holy Trinity: God, self, human. So where we get to play is where we choose to get into the playground, to be present with what's in the field. And what's in the field is what we've invited in. I have been following many different teachers, guides, thought leaders for decades. And There are many who are in my life that don't have these conversations about authenticity, about co-creating our lives, about casting spells with our words. We are essentially co-creating our own existence. We have our own field of energy that we move through our lives in. And when we trust in ourselves and we allow for the journey to be our teacher, we remember that I'm coming back to, oh, yes, there are many that have been talking about the way of the world and how this deconstruction was coming, so to speak, inevitable, maybe in another way, likely, depending on who you were talking to. It's about knowing that everything is in a cycle. And even this history, the history of this earth, this Pachamama, this consciousness, as long as humans and beings have been on this planet, we have gone through cycles of evolution. My invitation to you today is to hold your heart, to remember that you are in the space to remember that you get to choose. Remember that you get to remember that you get to choose. We often need to be reminded. If anybody out there is a parent, how many times do we have to tell our children to do their chores, pick up their room, brush their teeth? We are all children. We are all students, and we are all teachers. And that essence, thank you, Beverly, that essence of anchoring into the surrender that this life invites us to ride. It's an amusement park. It's a series of roller coaster rides. And when we trust, we actually assume. So there's this, we talk about assumptions, right? If you make an assumption, you're making an ass out of you and me, right? That's a for agreement law. Don't make assumptions. Just like don't take things personally. But the law of assumption is different. The law of assumption states that you recognize, you assume for the highest vibration. And that doesn't mean necessarily the nicest outcome. It's remembering that the highest expression is one that invites us to learn. Yeah, life can be fun sometimes when we're just hanging out and gently floating. But maybe after a while that can be a little boring, huh? So we desire for a wave to come along to shake things up. That's what this life is. It's a series of floating and waves, just like the heartbeat. Because guess what? If you're just moving along and there's no ups and downs, flatline. That's not life. That's not breathing. That's not existing as a human being. This journey incarnating into human form, is here to enable us to ride the waves. To ride the waves. And yes, it's not always easy. It's not about easy, right? It's about willingness. It's about trust. And it's like that little cat that's hanging on. It says, that sign, that little poster says, hang in there. Actually, it's let go and trust and fall. I mean, cats generally will land on their feet. So it's an interesting irony that that is the image that we are programmed with. When we let go and we trust, we will land. It might hurt, depending on how you fall. Even that provides something for you in your journey. Coming back to this 3-3 portal and recognizing that we are here as the driver, where we have God as our co-pilot. And we have our higher self supporting us, our inner spirit inviting us to be and to witness and to listen for the guidance that this physical earth offers us, as well as the inner messaging. We get to trust as I am. We get to teach as I am. We get to touch as I am. And when I say touch, I mean touch with our energy, touch with our love, touch with our presence. We are not here to do this journey alone. And it's in our allowing for the field and the experiences to be our guide that we feel as if we are in flow. Rivers move along the path of least resistance. Yes, over time, they do carve through the earth. But in order to get there, they have to find the places that will allow for that flow of water. It's only in the human experience that we create waterways that are a direct line, straight and narrow. I invite you. I invite you to choose you, to say yes to you, to say yes to this life, and to allow for everyone else to have their experience. We are only here to be in our relationship with self and God. And in that, we will serve the collective. Trust that all the choices you make for your highest frequency, your highest vibration, your truest sense of love, they are important for all the beings that share space at this time. We all chose to be here right now. There are no accidents. I mean, okay, we could say that somebody got pregnant, it wasn't planned, and then this baby shows up. But here's the thing, it wasn't about somebody got pregnant and it wasn't planned. It was that being chose those parents and said, I'm coming now. And that is how we all arrived here. We chose to be here. I invite you to remember that, yes, your life is not a straight path. It's a winding, creative, expansive road, river, path. And when you are willing to be with the experiences in your life, to take those experiences, to be in gratitude for them, to have compassion for the choices you've made and the choices of the people around you and what they have made for their life, maybe for your life, it was your parents or in some other form of that nature. You get to be with those experiences and you get to create the solid energy of your life's path because you trust, because you allow, because you have compassion, because you have gratitude. Thank you for joining me on the journey through this winding road of the 3-3 portal, where we get to remember that I am a victor or a victim or a villain because I get to choose, and that everything is serving. We get to assume the truth of this collective container, and we get to remember that all things are serving. Remember that you are light, that you are love, and that you are important because you exist. Thank you for being a part of this life journey, being in my field, contributing to the energies that I experience. Especially you, Beverly. Thank you so much for being here today. And for all of us, we're all here to teach and learn as we ride this wave and ride this roller coaster ride of life, one after another in the amusement park that is our journey. I look forward to seeing you in the myriad spaces that I get to hang out here virtually and on Idaho Earth. And thank you for being someone who's contributing to the field with love, light, and intention. Have an amazing rest of your day and really anchor in the truth of who you are and the importance of who you be. Mwah! Thank you. Bye.